Never mind. I got another pair if you can. I think we got two. Alright. You're under arrest for first-degree murder, arson, burglary, and tampering with the deceased body. Okay? Alright, that's what you're being charged with. Stacy's being charged with that as well, too. If you want to talk to me, I'll talk to you about it. And I can understand what happened that night. Okay? It's only if you want to. You don't have to. If you want to talk to me, I'll listen to your story. I'll always listen to people's story.
Yeah.
Okay? Is that something you'd like to do, is talk to me?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
Can we talk like
We're going to talk at the station.
Okay.
Okay, away from everybody else.
Okay.
Away from Stacy.
Okay.
Is that something you'd like to do?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, I'll hear your story.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, I can see it in your face.
Okay.
Alright.
It didn't take long for the officer to persuade Hosanna to talk, but cracking Stacy would be a different matter altogether.
Stacy, have you been informed of what you're arrested for?
No.
Okay. Being arrested for first-degree murder, arson, burglary, and tampering with a deceased body. Okay?
Is there proof of that?
Yes.
Mm.
Okay. If you want to talk to me, I'll hear your story
Okay.
and talk to you, okay? It's up to you. You don't have to talk to me, but if you want to tell me your story, I'll listen to you, okay? But I do have proof. It's not a coincidence I ended up here right now, okay? So it's up to you. Would you like to speak to me about it? Like I said, you don't have to. I'm not going to force you to do anything, but if you want to tell me your story, you can.
Can I smoke or no?
We could probably arrange for you to smoke, okay? Doesn't mean you have to talk to me if I let you smoke. But I can probably, do you have cigarettes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to grab them?
Where are they at?
They're right here. Do you see like the top on the top? So there's like the first one, on the roof.
They stand right here, yeah.
On the roof?
What do you mean the roof?
Like kind of like where the lights are.
Oh, can I go in there?
Yeah, but it's the first one.
This one?
Yeah. But it's like, it's weird. You gotta like use.
I'll leave your keys there, all right? Stacey, I'll let you think about it, okay? All right? Remember, it's your decision. Stacey, I'm gonna head over to the station, and I'll meet you there, and you can think about it, okay? All right, all right. Kel's gonna stay here, and then we got another officer here too. Okay. They're on their way.
What we'll be doing with the
It's towing.
Okay.
Getting towed. What's that? No, it's going with us. It's getting towed.
Neither Stacy nor Hosanna knew that the Greeley Police Department had done thorough homework before they even thought about making the arrest. Using cell phone records, they were able to track every single movement of Chris, Stacy, and Hosanna and used surveillance footage to piece the case together. On October the 2nd, Chris had sent a text message to a friend telling them that he was planning on going to a couple of bars that night. A short time later, he was driving along downtown Greeley on the hunt for somewhere to drink. He picked Cubeta's, one of the most popular places in town, where he danced the night away and drank mostly by himself. In fact, Cubeta's also happened to be one of the only places where underage Stacy was able to buy a drink. She was there that night with Hosanna. As the night progressed, Chris met up with his friend Dolores before events out of their control brought an end to the evening's fun. At around 1:30 a.m., a fight broke out inside the bar and everyone scrambled to avoid being involved, with several customers escaping out the back doors. With them was Chris, and this is where he met the people who would eventually murder him when he approached a Chevrolet Malibu in the parking lot of the club. As Chris walked past the vehicle, he stopped, turned around, and said something to the occupants before returning to his own vehicle nearby. The Malibu then followed Chris's Elantra all the way to his driveway. The evidence presented by the cell phone records and surveillance footage suggested that Hosanna second-degree burglary, which means she could face a long time behind bars if found guilty. Hosanna was charged with first-degree murder, first-degree arson, tampering with a body, and being an accessory to a crime. But she had a plan to try and get a reduced sentence by confessing everything to the investigators. Once she was in the interview room, Hosanna claimed the relationship between her and Stacy had deteriorated in the months leading up to the murder. The two had met at work and would engage in an affair behind the back of Hosanna's partner, with whom she had 3 children. Hosanna eventually left her partner and moved in with Stacy, but over time, Stacy became abusive towards her. She also claimed she had thought that Stacy might have been a part of a violent gang back when she lived in California.
On that day or the next day, and I was like, who were you talking to that you told them about the fire? And then she goes, nobody. She goes, I didn't tell anybody. And then I was like, but I heard you on the phone. And she goes, I didn't tell anybody, don't worry about it. And she like gave me a kiss and then just went on. And so she never brought it up again. And so I don't know who she could have told her. But like throughout our relationship, like she was like associated with these people, like I don't know, like her gang that she was like associated with. I never like met them, and she was always like fearful of like them.
Was that like a local thing, or because she's from California, right?
Yeah,
was it a California thing or a local thing?
She said that they were from California and her brothers were like involved with them. One of her brothers that he's like in jail right now. And so I don't know if it could have been like them.
Was she close to her family?
She was not really, but I know she was real close with one of her brothers, and that's the one that is in jail. She was the closest with him.
According to Hosanna, Stacy's violent nature would be unleashed on the night of October the 3rd, 2021. Chris was leaving Cubetas when Stacy called him over to her car. Chris invited the 2 women over to his place before driving home with his new friends in tow. Back at Chris's home, they started drinking vodka, and that was when Stacy started to ply Chris with alcohol while pretending herself and Hosanna were drinking the same amount. In reality, Stacy was watering down every drink except for Chris's. During the night's drinking games, an argument broke out between Chris and Stacy, and it escalated completely out of control when Stacy started throwing beer bottles.
Quick, now, is she on top of him, or where is she at?
I don't think she's on top.
Okay, so she's kind of standing, and then Chris is on the couch.
Yeah, and I think he's trying to get up. I don't know.
Okay.
And then she grabs the beer bottle and goes to hit him, but she misses. And I go, no, don't. I go, let's just leave it. You know what I mean? Like, let's go. And she looks at me and she I think she grabs another beer bottle, has that same one in her hand, and then that's when she hits him on the head, and gets another one, and then hits him again, and there's blood and blood on his face and like everywhere on him. And
Stacy ordered Hosanna to grab a nail file from the kitchen, that ended Christopher Dickerson's life. Hosanna did not see the murder herself as she stayed in the kitchen, but she heard it happen, and when Stacy walked into the kitchen, she was covered in blood. She'd stabbed Chris several times in the neck and inflicted some devastating injuries from which he would not survive. But if Hosanna's version of events is to be believed, then what Stacy did might possibly turn your stomach. As Stacy studied the blood on her hands, she allegedly licked her fingers in delight and savored in the blood of her victim. Stacy then positioned Chris's body on the floor. Claims were true was another question, but Hosanna's testimony did match up to the forensic and other physical evidence. By the time the case went to trial in February of 2025 at the Weld County District Court, Stacy had come up with a defense of her own.
What happens when you move to the corner?
He gets in my face even closer.
He gets in your face even closer?
Yeah.
Much taller than you?
Yeah, there's a big difference.
If he was standing above you, did you have to look up at him?
Yeah, I did.
So we're moving over to the corner. What happens when you're in the corner?
He puts his arms on the sides of me.
Okay. So he's putting his arms on the side of you.
Yes.
Is your back up against something?
Yeah, I was on the wall.
Okay, on the wall.
Yeah.
And the wall in the corner by the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Away from the cabinets.
Yeah.
And you said his hands are on the wall?
Yeah, but like on the sides of me.
On the sides of you?
Yeah.
Above your shoulders?
No, like right at them.
Okay. Is he touching you?
No.
You said he's yelling at you?
Yeah.
What is he saying?
So you call me a bitch? He keeps like repeating the same thing over.
Is he yelling at you?
Yeah.
You said that his face was close to you, but he was taller than you. So was he looking down on you?
So he's like right in front of my face, and when he turned to look at Hosanna when she had told him to get off me or get away from me, when he turned, I like just pushed him off me.
How hard did you push him?
Honestly, in that moment, I really don't know.
Where did he go?
He didn't go.
Well, I mean, you pushed him. What happened?
He went back.
Okay. Did he stumble over his feet?
Yeah, he stumbled over his feet, but he didn't fall to the ground.
Okay. Did he run into anything when you pushed him?
He kind of like grabbed the refrigerator.
Hosanna would maintain that it wasn't Chris who was on the offensive that night, and Stacy was the one in the wrong. She would also shed light on how the argument between Stacy and Chris started in the first place.
Had Mr. Dickerson ever been violent towards either you or the defendant?
No.
Okay. Had Mr. Dickerson ever sexually assaulted you or the defendant during any encounter of this?
He did slap my butt twice.
Okay.
I mean, like when I would just stand up, he was just kind of like, it seemed like if he was just too happy, like really, just too, I think he fell, he stumbled and got back up and he started yelling, and I remember him just saying to get out of my house. At one point she pushed him on the couch and grabbed a beer bottle and wanted to hit him with it. And I told her, no, like, let's just leave. We could just leave, And she just looked at me and threw the beer bottle. And then she grabbed another one and threw it again on his face. And at this point, she's on top of him, like using her weight on top of him. And then she tells me, she goes, go get that thing. And so I went and I just grabbed it and I just gave it to her. And then she tells me, go to the other room in the kitchen. And so I went to the kitchen, and that's when I started hearing her stab him. And that's when I realized what she was doing.
The defense team were quick to question the testimony of Hosanna and why she stayed with Stacy after she had committed murder. After all, would you want a killer sleeping next to you every night?
You say, you're telling this jury under oath, you saw her pull some Hannibal Lecter stuff, drinking blood, saying it's dirty after she just unprovokedly murdered. And you're just letting them around your children, right?
The trial would gain a lot of attention from the press, with drama in the courtroom as well as behind the scenes. While waiting for trial, Hosanna had several handwritten notes delivered to her cell that threatened her and her 3 children if she spoke to the police. And then there was the behavior of Stacy herself, who didn't seem to take the case as seriously as you might have thought for someone who was facing a murder charge, as she smirked her way through the trial and sentencing. But Stacy told the courtroom that her behavior wasn't a lack of remorse and could be explained quite easily.
Tell me, when you get anxious, do you get quiet?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Do you sometimes laugh?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Do you laugh maybe at times? Is it just kind of the response to the anxiety?
Yeah, it is.
Not necessarily that you're laughing at something funny?
Yeah, no, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah, I do have like a lot like social anxiety, but like I am like very like secure with like myself. Like I know, like I feel
Okay.
like I'm secure with myself.
When the jury returned from their deliberations, they found Stacy guilty of first-degree murder, first-degree arson, tampering with a deceased body, and 2 counts of second-degree burglary.
Jury verdict, count 1, murder in the first degree. We, the jury, find the defendant, Stacey Marie Rodriguez, guilty of murder in the first degree.
She won't be getting out of prison anytime soon, as on March the 12th of 2025, Stacey received her sentence.
Ms. Rodriguez, your actions were horrible. Your decisions were horrible, both in the commission of this act and the choices that you made after this act. It is a struggle for this court to understand how you can go from meeting a person to viciously stabbing them in the neck until they are dead in the course of a few hours. It's one of the most disturbing cases that I think has been before this court since I've had this job. As to count 1, murder in the first degree, the court will sentence you to serve the rest of your natural life in prison without the possibility of parole. With respect to count 2, first degree arson, the court is going to sentence you to 32 years in the Department of Corrections. That sentence will run consecutively with count 1. With respect to count 3, tampering with a deceased human body, the court is going to sentence you to 12 years in the Department of Corrections. That count will run consecutively with the other counts. As to counts 4 and 5, the court on each count is going to sentence you to 12 years in the Department of Corrections. Counts 4 and 5 will run concurrently with each other, but consecutively with counts 1, 2, and 3. Ms. Devereaux, the state had mentioned indication of pre-sentence confinement of 1,257 days. Do you believe that is accurate?
For her testimony, Hosanna was given the 32-year sentence agreed to in her plea deal. None of that would be much comfort to the family and friends of Chris Dickerson, but they may feel some sense of justice knowing his killer would never see the free world again.
My next door neighbor just came and knocked on my door. When I went to the door, she is crying and she says she thinks her husband is dead.
So there's a lot of stuff coming out. So why should we believe you, who's told us at least 2 or 3 sets of lies?
What about me?
Man, got killed last night.
Okay. Now you know you've done some robberies, so your name gets brought up. Did you do this?
No. Every conversation you have with Lou is recorded. We know about the planning. We know about the affair. And there's a possibility that if you did cooperate and provide a statement, you could not spend the rest of your life in prison and see your kids before you die.
It was just before 2 a.m. when a woman dressed only in a t-shirt, blood gushing from a cut on her head, started ringing the doorbell of her neighbor, desperate for help and in dire need of police.
911, location emergency. Yes, my name is Carl Feit. My next door neighbor just came and knocked on my door. When I went to the door, she is crying and she says she thinks her husband is dead. She says the guy broke into the house. He has a gun. She's got blood on her face where he hit her with the gun.
Wait a second. So was this a domestic?
No, this was another guy.
Another guy broke into the house?
Another guy broke into the house, correct? Not your husband, just, no. She says the guy that broke into the house killed her husband.
Okay, all right. Where's the other guy at right now?
Where is the other guy out?
I just woke up with this all over and now it's picked up.
I have no idea where the other guy is.
Okay,
now.
I'll tell you what, for your safety, just stay in the house and lock your door and keep her inside your house, okay?
Yes.
Join us as we look into a burglary gone wrong, a twisted tale that reached from the coast of North Carolina to Oregon and back again. What happened on that hot August night in Elizabeth City between a pawnbroker and a prowler? Before we begin, we would like to extend our deepest sympathies to the family and loved ones of Milton Sawyer Jr., a husband, father, stepfather, and local businessman. Our story takes us to a small but historic town on the coast of North Carolina, just south of the big naval port of Norfolk, Virginia. A quiet, blue-collar town. Life is either quite pleasant there, or it can be a struggle. Quaint shops and a beautiful harbor bring visitors, but there's also an undercurrent around the edges where hard drugs and the addicts that depend on them lead a cycle of petty crimes and robberies. Milton and his wife Angel were living the good life there. They had a nice home and a blended family with a total of 7 kids between them. They had 2 daughters heading off to college in just days, and 5 other children out making their way in the world and doing well. The couple owned a store in town that bought and sold antiques, collectibles, gold, silver, whatever someone needed to get rid of in exchange for some cash. And Milton would purchase items of questionable provenance from addicts and ne'er-do-wells every now and then. Pawned items in the store would always be done with the proper paperwork for a pawnbroker, but he would now and then purchase items off-site without paperwork. It was a gray area, to say the least. Had that run afoul of him on this night?
She says the person had a mask on, correct? So, no, she doesn't know the person.
All right, can she tell if he's white or black?
Was he white or black? He was completely dressed in black.
All black?
She doesn't know.
Okay.
His head was completely covered in a mask, and he had on a... Said he was yelling and cussing a lot.
Okay.
He robbed their house, took all their money.
Okay, how many people? Just one person?
He was just one person, right? He didn't have anybody with him. Yes, that's correct, just one person. Were you both tied to the bed? Or tied them up in the bathroom?
All right, and so she was tied up also?
Yes, she still got some of the tape and stuff on her hands.
The 911 operator asked Angel to leave the tape that was still on her arm as it was and not to touch it. The idea was to preserve any fingerprints or evidence that might still be on it. He then asks for more of the story.
Did the suspect shoot her husband, or do you think he's dead because of the injury?
No, her husband is the cause of the injury.
And
her husband's the one that's been injured. She says he won't wake up.
Okay.
She can't get him to wake up or anything like that. Because was your husband beaten as well?
I was out in the bedroom still, and he took him to the bathroom first. And I heard a lot of wrestling around, and then I tried to get up. That's when he knocked me down, and I was like right there in the bedroom.
Police would arrive on the scene within minutes, cordoning off the area and beginning a search for the perpetrator. Angel was taken to a local hospital for treatment. Milton's lifeless body was found in the bathroom of the home, and it appeared that the home had been burglarized with a marked effort to steal cash, gold, and jewelry, items that the family's business generated on a regular basis. Milton and Angel were fairly well known throughout the community, and support was showered upon the family. Angel would come in the next morning, August the 3rd, to provide a statement to investigators and do what she could to tell them what had happened the night before. She's still visibly shaken by the night's events, and the investigators do what they can to put her at ease. They don't have an easy task here, balancing the need for details and still being sensitive to the victim.
How have you been? How have you been coping?
Can't drink.
We're both sorry for your loss, and sorry you're having to go through all this, but we're doing everything we can. I know you talked with Aaron some, and there's some stuff that you kind of, people are kind of talking about you and talking to you about, just personal stuff, and we're getting 5 times as much of that about basically everybody that ever shopped at the store. So it's just, there's a lot of stuff coming out, and some of it's not true, and some of it is true. But do you think you'd be okay to talk to us for a little while today? Like, are you
I want to clear everything up. I mean, everybody that knows us knows that we have a good relationship. We've had, like any marriage things. I had a hard time our first year of dating, as you would ask. I found out later, after we were already engaged, that he had been with 2 other women. And it was, but we got through it, and it was hard. He was always very jealous. I mean, it was hard for him because he's always said, "You're so attractive, you could have anyone you want." And, I would always reassure him that I just wanted him.
She would go on to say that the two didn't go out much anymore because people often thought she was Milton's daughter rather than his wife. They explained that some of the information coming in from outside were rumors that there might have been some infidelity in the relationship on her part.
The only recent thing, though, was I had been in a car accident and I had gone to physical therapy. And I don't remember the exact time and dates, but my appointment had been canceled, so I forwarded him the voice message. And for whatever reason, he realized that it's a guy that I'm going to physical therapy with. And obviously, if you've ever been to physical therapy, you're in a room full of people. It's not fun. And, but it bothered him. He looked him up on Facebook, sent me a screenshot of his picture, said he's attractive, and I said, "No, he's not. I'm attracted to you. I love you. I care about this guy." But he was still having a hard time with it. He would get angry every time we went, so I finally just quit. I said, "I'd rather be in pain physically than to make you suffer. If it was that important to you that I not go to physical therapy, I won't go."
Angel would go on to explain that she had only gone to 2 physical therapy sessions and that she thought the man's name was Isaac. Milton, however, had become jealous, and because of rumors, he had gotten very hurt about the whole situation. She assured investigators that the two had gotten past the situation, and on the evening before the incident, they had gone out shopping together.
We had been shopping for the girls' college stuff, and he got a call from Dylan. And Dylan wanted to meet at Hardee's with his girlfriend Robin, and bought a TV that obviously had been ripped out of the wall. It had, you could see that, it's in the truck if you want to see it, but I basically was upset with him. And I was crying the whole way home from Hardee's to our home. And I got out of the car, went inside, and he sent me a text, which you can look at, that says that he needs to start taking my advice, that he was sorry, that he loved me.
Dylan was a name the investigators had heard in connection with this case already. A jailhouse informant had called to let them know she had heard that Dylan Clark Hostetler was definitely involved in the robbery and murder. Dylan was a 24-year-old man who had a history of petty crimes in the town and was suspected in a series of burglaries and robberies. He was also a known heroin user. He was brought in under arrest after he was found to have cocaine in his possession. His girlfriend, 18-year-old Robin Carter, was also a heroin addict, and she was questioned as well.
So what happened today?
Nancy said her parents called to the cops and everyone just wanted to talk to us. Guess it's something to do with Milton's work. Is that what it was?
What about Milton?
No, he got killed last night.
Okay. Well, did you talk to him?
Oh, no, we didn't. They get him. They picked me up before that.
Why didn't you call him?
She texted on her phone. The guy said he was in a meeting that he would call back as soon as he got done.
Okay. So the reason that you're here right now is because they got cocaine on you, right?
I guess so.
I mean, that's what they told me.
Well, man, it was being tiniest bit of cocaine in the world, man. Oh, shit.
Alright.
They told me that I was here to talk to them and see what was going on with it.
Okay, so tell me about Milton.
I don't know anything about Milton. I don't know anything. Robin found out that day. Josh Greasy called her. Josh called her and told her that shit. That's when I got on. I talked to my mom. My dad's been friends with Milton for a long time. I've dealt with Milton for a long time. And then my mom talked to Wendy. Wendy, I guess, used to work with Milton. My mom was friends with Wendy. And that's when I was finding out everything, like what happened. So I guess I broke into his house and like the kid, I guess it sounded like James, Uncle James about it. He looked it up on the internet. It sounded like he got killed at his shop. But then Robin was saying there's something about that. Just a bunch of hearsay. I don't know anything about it, but I just know it's bad that the man got it happened last night. And we seen him last night.
Where at?
Met him at Hardy's. Robin got rid of a TV, just a little TV we had. I seen him last night. I've seen him all the time. I haven't known him for a long damn time, dude. Long damn time. He gave me $10 extra last night. And I can take it off next time I see him. Like,
Where did the TV come from?
this Robin's been had it for a long time. They said, oh shit, it wasn't worth anything. That's why, he was nice and looked out for me. He was like $10 for TV. Got $20 altogether.
He would tell the investigators that Robin had dropped him off at his grandmother's house at about 8:30 that night. He lived there with her, his father, his uncle, and his brother. He said he slept that night on the living room floor while his uncle slept on a couch nearby. They could all vouch for him being there and that he had called Robin a number of times from the house phone and spoke with her off and on again until the early morning hours. Dylan would go on to say that he really didn't even know where Milton lived and had never met him at his house.
Man, you've done some robberies. So, your name gets brought up. Did you do this? You know from dealing with the court system that you're better off if you did it to come off of it.
Man, so I feel you definitely enough, and I do not do that shit. I might be doing dope shit, but I ain't a fucking murderer.
Well, I mean, you're a murderer, but you are a robber. I mean, that's what you do. And if you go to rob somebody and it ain't your fault, if you make a mistake, then you need to own up to it.
Yeah, I never do. I would not do that. I was home one night last night, and absolutely home. Robin was at her parents' house as well, and I did not. Absolutely did not do that.
I know that you're saying that you did not do that.
I did not have anything to do with it, nothing. Didn't know about it until today. Until today inside of Food Line, when she was talking to Josh Greasy on the phone. Josh is the one that told her that, and that's when it came up.
After Dylan explains the last time he had been in Milton's store, the officers get a bit more curious about the business relationship the two had developed. In the previous week, Dylan said he had taken a pair of Air Jordans and some designer shoes and a large knife to Milton.
How much money did you get for that stuff?
$15.
For all that
yeah,
stuff?
Yeah, it wasn't nothing. Just nothing deals with you, like whatever I got, man, just cheap deal. Like, you know what I mean? Just nothing. Just $15.
Does he give you a receipt or anything, or do you just like when you meet him at Hard, does he just take the TV and give you $20? He does no kind
Yeah, me and Milton known each other forever, man. Yeah, that's how it is.
You never had any arguments or anything?
Never, ever, man. No, Milton's a good guy, man.
Robin would corroborate Dylan's story.
So, it's just, how you doing yesterday?
Just rode around really all day. Then about 8:30 is when we got up with Milton about the TV. And we met him at Hardy's yesterday. So, and then I went, where'd I go after? I went to 2nd Street, and then I went back to Dylan's house, but I had to be home because my mom was bitching at me to come home. So I was home, so I went to Dylan's house, dropped him off, then went back to my house. And it was probably like 9, I know exactly when I got there because my daughter was still awake.
She would go on to illustrate that the two men had a good, if unusual, relationship. They then simply asked her who she might think had committed the crime.
Do you think killed him?
I
don't think you have any idea?
No.
So when you said that that it's not, like, it never even crossed your mind that Dylan did something like that, it's kind of his thing, right?
No.
Like, I mean, like he's done home invasions and robberies before.
I know, but when Dylan cares about somebody, he truly cares about somebody. He gives his heart to people he loves, and he loved Milton. I mean, he started crying when he found out Milton was passed away.
While Dylan and Robin were the last two people to have contact with Milton and Angel before